In the aftermath of these losses in the special elections, there is a conversation happening now within the Democratic Party about whether or not Nancy Pelosi, who's the leader of Democrats in the House, should retain that title. We saw earlier this year a challenge to her from Tim Ryan, a member from Ohio, arguing that Pelosi has become toxic and doesn't speak or represent voters in Trump country who voted for Trump. Now, to me, they're like, it's like saying, okay, yeah, the Democrats would have won Georgia if there was been some white guy in charge of Democrats in the House. It feels a little silly. But talk to us about what that division is that Democrats are now facing, and whether there's a possibility that Nancy Pelosi could be pushed out.
Yeah, so I think the argument is less about her being in leadership and what she does as it is about the symbol she has become. If you look at Republican advertising, for years, it's been tying Democrat X to Nancy Pelosi.
It looks like half of that is like sexist garbage. It really is.
It maybe, but
like
it's
these
still
attacks, have you seen these ads?
There's a reason, I've said this, there's a reason that the two sort of biggest boogeymen for Republicans to beat up on Democrats are Nancy Pelosi and Elizabeth Warren.
Right.
Because they're women. And it's frankly not that hard to beat up on a woman and get away with it.
Right, exactly. Even in 2017.
It's just not.
And so Democrats who are critical of Pelosi, they all acknowledge that she's a massive fundraiser. She's a powerhouse for the party, and that's all great. And she's helped them do a lot of things, healthcare, of course, win elections in the past. But if you look at the mailers and the ads in Georgia, Congressional Leadership Fund is a major super PAC. They've spent $7 million in the race, much of that just tying us off to Pelosi. They released polling this week that showed in 11 Republican districts that Democrats are targeting in 2018, Pelosi's favorability numbers are underwater. Now, Democrats would argue that Trump's are slipping as well, so it'll be, a contest between two boogeymen.
Right,
but
right.
The point for a lot of Democrats like Ryan is that she is a drag on the party that is trying to articulate a new message. I was talking to an Ohio source yesterday who complained that, the average income in Pelosi's district is about $100,000 more than in his own community in Ohio. And so voters there just don't.
Okay, but that would make sense if Nancy Pelosi put forward policies that would benefit the people whose average income is $100,000 more in her district. She clearly does not.
It's more symbolic, though, right? People aren't necessarily looking at the particular policies. They're looking at who they think she represents, whether that's true or not.
Okay, but are voters looking at Nancy Pelosi, Googling her district and saying, look at the rich people that Nancy Pelosi represents? Clearly, then, she doesn't represent middle and lower income Americans. Tim Ryan, whose average income in his Ohio district is a lot. I don't understand why Democrats feel it's advantageous for them to meet sexist attacks against Nancy Pelosi by saying, let's cast her aside and the strong leader that she's been, particularly when she was Speaker of the House, and put up a generic white man whose message is white middle-class people, as if there's a difference between what black middle working people want and white working people want. That to me is outrageous. Who's going to find some message about Rust Belt jobs and win? To me, that makes no sense at all. That makes no sense at all.